Hello, and welcome to today's podcast. I'm Sonia, and joining me is Simon. We're here to discuss the latest news in the world of business and technology.
That's right, Sonia. We're covering some significant stories today, from media acquisitions to initial public offerings. Let's start with one of the most interesting deals.
James Murdoch is acquiring New York Magazine and the Vox Media Podcast Network in a deal valued at over $300 million. This acquisition gives Murdoch control of a storied magazine and a significant podcast division.
That's a substantial deal. What does this mean for Murdoch's influence over news and entertainment?
According to the reports, this deal significantly expands Murdoch's portfolio and is expected to boost his influence. He's purchasing roughly half of Vox Media, including their podcast network, website, and New York Magazine.
So Murdoch is not just acquiring New York Magazine, but also a significant portion of Vox Media's assets. How does this fit into his overall media strategy?
Murdoch's Lupa Systems Media and Tech Holding Company is behind this acquisition. It seems he's looking to consolidate various media properties under his control, potentially increasing his reach and influence in the industry.
That's an interesting move, especially considering the current media landscape. What are your thoughts on how this acquisition might affect the content and direction of these media properties?
The reports don't go into detail about potential changes in content or direction, but it's worth noting that such acquisitions often lead to strategic realignments to better fit the acquirer's vision or goals.
Switching gears, there's been a notable development in the real estate tech space. Thousands of Chicago area home listings have disappeared from Zillow.
That's right. The listings began disappearing because MRED, the Metropolitan Regional Information Systems, cut off Zillow's access to its regional home listing database.
So this is more than just a technical glitch. It's a deliberate action by MRED. What's behind this decision?
The context provided suggests there's a legal fight between major players in the real estate industry. MRED's decision to cut off Zillow's access is part of this broader dispute.
I see. This could have significant implications for consumers searching for homes in the Chicago area. How might this affect the real estate market?
The loss of these listings on Zillow could hinder consumers' ability to search for homes comprehensively. Zillow is a major platform, and its absence could create a gap in the market.
Let's move on to another significant story. SpaceX is planning one of the largest initial public offerings, IPOs.
Elon Musk announced plans for a massive sale of stock to the public. SpaceX is currently losing billions of dollars, but the IPO could still be attractive to investors.
That's a fascinating development. What are the details surrounding this potential IPO?
The reports indicate that SpaceX is preparing for one of the biggest IPOs ever. The company is valued highly due to its pioneering work in space technology.
And how does this IPO plan fit into the broader context of SpaceX's current financial situation and future plans?
Adjusting for context, the anticipation is that SpaceX's innovative projects and potential future contracts could make it an attractive investment opportunity.
Speaking of the SpaceX IPO, there's news about the bank leading the deal.
Goldman Sachs has been selected to lead the underwriting for SpaceX's IPO. This move is expected to pave the way for what could be the largest IPO in history.
So Goldman Sachs is taking the lead role in this massive IPO. What does this say about the scale and significance of the SpaceX IPO?
The involvement of Goldman Sachs underscores the magnitude of this IPO. It's a significant endorsement of SpaceX's potential and a signal of the confidence Wall Street has in the company.
Another tech giant making headlines is OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT. They're reportedly preparing to file for an IPO.
OpenAI is working with bankers from firms like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley on a draft IPO prospectus. They plan to file confidentially with regulators soon.
This is a significant development for OpenAI. What are the key details surrounding their IPO plans?
The reports suggest that OpenAI could file for the IPO as early as this week. They're working closely with major financial institutions to prepare the necessary documents.
How does OpenAI's IPO plan compare to other recent tech IPOs, especially in the AI space?
OpenAI's move is notable because it follows other significant developments in the AI sector. Companies like Anthropic are also in the spotlight, potentially making this a busy period for AI-related IPOs.
As we wrap up today's discussion, it's clear that there are several major developments unfolding in the tech and media landscapes.
That's right. From media acquisitions to significant IPOs, these stories highlight the dynamic nature of the industries we're covering.
And as we look to the future, it's interesting to consider how these developments might shape the markets and consumer experiences.
Indeed. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. That's all for today's podcast.
Thank you for listening. Until next time, goodbye.